CCTV footage has been released of the horrific moment a disqualified driver ran from the scene, as his girlfriend was left dying, after he crashed a car on motorway speeds on a residential street. Cameron Jones left Miss Mabbitt horrifically injured at the roadside before using her phone to call the police and falsely claiming she had been the one driving. He then collected his bag from the smashed car and ran away. During his sentencing hearing at Merthyr Crown Court, Jones's actions were described as showing total cowardice and inhuman by a judge who threw out suggestions from the defendant that Miss Mabbitt was the love of his life. Cameron Jones, of Heel Bryn Waig Widwell, Merthyr, had previously pleaded guilty to causing death by dangerous driving, causing death while driving while disqualified, and causing death while driving without insurance, and also to the so-called Schedule 51 offences of failing to stop after an accident and failing to report an accident when he appeared in the dock for sentencing. The court heard how the collision happened at around 11:45 p.m. on April 5th this year in Swansea Road, Merthyr. After crashing the car, what witnesses described as around 70 miles per hour on the 20 miles per hour road, Jones approached a witness for a lift, leaving Miss Mabbitt gravely ill nearby. After his request was refused, Jones then approached Miss Mabbitt as she lay unconscious on the roadside some 27 meters from the crash scene and used her phone to call 999, telling police, "My missus has just crashed her car." The prosecutor said a number of drivers, as well as people living on the street, responded to the sight and sounds of the crash, and Jones was seen rummaging around in the crashed Audi with a torch and talking about finding the guy who was driving. The defendant then ran away. Shocking CCTV footage released after his sentencing shows the car traveling at motorway speeds along the residential road. In a later clip, someone can be seen running from the vehicle. First aid was performed on 25-year-old Miss Mabbitt at the scene until paramedics arrived and took over. She was then rushed to the University Hospital of Wales in Cardiff, where subsequent CT scans showed she had suffered traumatic brain injuries. Miss Mabbitt underwent emergency surgery to try to reduce the pressure on her brain, but despite extensive medical intervention, her condition continued to deteriorate, and she died at 11:20 a.m. April 12th. Meanwhile, Jones was on the run from police. The court heard that despite daily arrest inquiries being made with known associates, he could not be found. Police launched a major media campaign asking for help to find the suspect, and he eventually handed himself in on April 28th. Judge Jeremy Jenkins said whether to show off or to impress his girlfriend beside him. The defendant had driven at high speeds on wet roads and caused a crash which took the life of Miss Mabbitt and devastated her family. He said in making the 999 call from his partner's phone and then running away, the defendant had shown total cowardice and described his actions as inhuman. The judge said he had read a letter from the defendant in which he described Miss Mabbitt as the love of his life, but he said he found that assertion disingenuous and untrue and self-serving. He said Jones had thought only of himself and shown no real remorse or contrition, and he said he had no doubt the defendant had entered guilty pleas only to gain advantage via the discount in sentence that was due. With a 1/3 discount for his guilty pleas, Jones was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He will serve up to half that sentence in custody before being released on license to serve the remainder in the community. He was banned from driving for a total of 10 years and must pass an extended test before he can get a license.